Enough to knock me out, but I'm still holding the throne. You'll never know till it's over. So pretty it hurts. Just beware of the thorns.
Everyone, today we're going to be talking about the limitations of prison technology, and featuring Harvey Seidel. What do you think are some of the biggest limitations of prison tech? Actually, I already introduced myself.
One thing, they take expensive things and sell them to them high price, like a 13.5-inch TV, $145.
It's a little expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot expensive.
Yeah. And current tech is still limited in prison. Right.
What are you talking
Really. Anyways.
about? You talking about the tablets?
Yeah. Well, yes, it's an Android tablet, effectively. It's still limited by its operating system.
Yeah. And it's also limited by, well, this don't have so much to do with tech, but they're limited by what they can get, you know?
Yeah.
They just can't get like YouTube or Facebook or anything.
Those apps are technically compatible with the tablets, just that they're not in prison.
Right, and people are, like Kevin called me the other day from prison, and he told me that he just wanted to throw his new tablet because they're making changes to them, but it's really making them worse.
Making them worse?
Yeah, and they're supposed to be able to soon be able to call on the tablets. Well, he said he got this new tablet and it took all of his pictures, all of his photos that he had stored on there, and he said it's happening to other people too.
Just deleting them?
Yeah, they're just gone.
Yeah. Well, you see, I don't think... Now, it could be people's opinion about this would be different, but I don't think you should be able to take pictures with it.
No, I don't think they can.
Or have pictures stored on it.
They can, yeah, they're allowed to store pictures on it. Like if I send him a photo, he can store it on his tablet. Where else would he store it if I send it to him through email?
I don't know, on the tablet.
Right.
Fair enough, but maybe you can view it, but not actually save it.
No, but a lot of people want to save photos on it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they have to allow you to save photos.
Now, when they first started allowing us to send emails, the way that, this is before the tablets, the way they would do it is they would copy the email into paper and bring it to us around like it was regular mail. So, I guess they could do photos like that if they really wanted to. But they're trying to eliminate paper, is what they're trying to do.
Yeah. How, I can't determine how the tablets would, because they can't be connected to the internet, obviously, right?
Right.
Or have any access to the internet. Even if the tablet didn't have like apps that could like communicate with the internet in a really good way, right? And it just has the internet for getting, receiving, and sending emails, right? For receiving your emails, somebody's gonna find a loophole for that and like find maybe, because Android itself has a built-in web browser that cannot be removed from the operating system. It's a required component. So they're just gonna find some loophole where they like click on a link in an email and it opens up a web browser.
Well, I already heard that. Like I think it was in Utah, but when they first started allowing them to have tablets, that some inmates out there did hack it.
Yeah. Exactly. You can't trust your inmates to not try to find a loophole through it.
They got all day to figure out things.
Yeah. They can just be sitting there in their cell, just like tapping around, messing with it.
Yeah. I mean, they have nothing else to do.
Yeah, because again, it's an Android tablet. It's based upon Android. It's a custom OS and launcher and stuff that's restricted down. but at its heart, it's Android.
Right. Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, if you was an adult and you was in charge of a prison, you was in charge of the Missouri Department of Corrections.
Yeah.
What would you allow them to have as far as tablets and stuff like that?
Okay, as tablets, I don't think prisoners. Yeah, they can send emails. The emails will be monitored. For one, if you send emails, they will be not only monitored, they'll be checked before they go through.
They already are.
Yeah, exactly. And you can send emails to tablets. So yeah, they're already received. That's good, because I mean, you cannot trust them to just because they can say they can type anything, because it's a free text box, and they can send anything. They can send like a plan to get out of prison.
Right.
So they have to be monitored. Also, emails coming in have to be monitored.
Right.
So, great, perfect. That's fine, because it already is. They already thought about that. They should have. Ever heard of white hat hacking? Okay, so white hat hacking is hacking for good. Or ethical hacking is what it's also called. It's hacking to find vulnerabilities in software. They should have somebody doing that. Going on the tablets and just tapping around, seeing what they can break. Because...
to try to make them unbreakable, right?
Yeah.
Unhackable.
I mean, there's still going to be loopholes, there's still going to be glitches, there's still going to be bugs that allows you into the system and allows you to arbitrarily execute something or something like that.
So what do you think when I told you about when they came out with when everybody had to switch from analog to digital, and that included the prisons.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling you about the filters they put on to keep us from getting all those channels.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
It's fine. I mean, yeah, they have to put filters. I mean, I don't think they should, but they have to.
Right.
It's state mandated. So, whatever, right? My problem is that a filter should not affect the other channels.
Right. And it was.
It was, like the intro of this video that I already did, it was kind of monitored after that. And people that know, they know.
Right. Yeah, and they eventually fixed it, but it took them a long time.
Yes. And again, like tape recorders and any tech has to be clear.
Right, yeah. Beard trimmers and everything was clear,
Yeah, just so you can't hide stuff in them. But
Right.
the better thing about that is clear plastic is a lot cheaper to make. I'm sure you know that, don't you?
Right. But, yeah, it saves the guards from taking a device apart to check for it,
Yeah. All they have to do is look at it, be like, that's good. Yeah, this looks pretty good, man. Yeah, there's nothing in here. Yeah.
And also to see if it's not been
Tampered with.
altered yet.
Because, there's people making their own soldering irons on them. And they can solder up wires to short out pins on startup to get to some debug mode or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I know a guy that he had a celly and he didn't like it. And so he started. This is when we had the big TVs, and some people still have the big TVs. You know how it's got the little vents in the back?
Yeah.
He started dropping paper clips and stuff back there.
Yeah.
Until he shorted it out, until the paper clips touched on wires.
Uh-huh.
He said he had to do it a bunch of times to finally get it right.
Uh-huh. You see, the thing about dropping paper clips in there, was he trying to break it?
He was trying to mess the guy's TV up.
Okay, yeah. The thing with that is, there's some people that have heard the story on Quora of this guy who's dropping, like you said, paper clips into his TV to short out pins on the board
Right. Yeah, that's what this guy's doing.
Yeah, but he was trying to short out a certain pins to unlock something that the TV you're normally restricted.
Yeah, because we can't have remotes in prison.
Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah. So he was trying to short out pins to, I think it was like the HDMI input, because there was the HDMI port on there, but you couldn't use it
Right.
because it was restricted access.
Right.
Which I think is funny, because what HDMI device do you have that they would have to restrict access to be able to use it?
Right. Maybe your tablet.
Yeah. But you still need a cord.
Right.
Well, anyways, he was trying to short about a pin, and this pin, what it did was, because you couldn't access the service menu to change settings and stuff, which is what you need to do to re-enable that. Well, he hit it, and it did a kind of factory reset on the TV. And it removed all the things that was on there.
Oh yeah.
It didn't remove the filters because the filters were from the provider,
Right.
but you could now access all the functions of the TV.
No, this guy was trying to mess the guy's TV up.
Yeah. The reason why I think that's funny is because when I read this, I was like, yeah, that's one good way to mess your TV up.
Yeah, it is.
If you all it takes is you just short the wrong TV, the wrong pins.
Yeah, for the paper clip to hit two different points,
Yeah.
the wrong one.
Well, I had to short between two pins on the motherboard or the logic board.
Mm-hmm.
It was I think it was like, because there was a button, there was two buttons that was removed on the TV. It was the power button was still there, but it was the menu button that was removed. And he had a remote that plugged into the TV with the little port on the back, right? And pressing the menu button just said, this option is not available. You think that's funny?
Yeah. So what do you, I know your funniest, the story you like the best is when I got a release date and got sent to Algoa, and they was trying to teach me the internet.
Oh, the internet, yeah, the computers.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it, like, here's an icon. You mouse over the icon, you click on the icon. Now, you don't normal click, you double click, you click twice rapidly.
Right.
But it's like, you know that!
Right, but they told me, I said, I thought you were supposed to be teaching me about the internet here. And they said, well, we can't give you access to the internet, but we can just show you how to click on icons. I said, what is the point of this?
At the very least, they could have had, like, now of course it's a prison, so they're not going to be smart. I'm sorry, I'm just saying the truth. It's funny. It's a prison. They're not going to be smart about this, but if they were, they could have had some, like, HTML document mimicking Google or something.
Right, yeah.
And that would have been better. Maybe a Facebook page, mimic a Facebook.
Like a simulation or something.
Yeah, a simulation. There's files for this purpose. It's called HTML. .html hypertext markup language.
Right. Hey, since we're on the tech,
Yeah?
if people in prison were able to take their own photos with a camera, right,
Uh-huh.
in their cell, right,
Uh-huh.
would it be called a selfie?
Can you tell he's a dad? At least he has a joke, so there's something going for him, right?
Right.
Well, anyways. One thing is, I'm going to continue talking about the tablets, because, like I said, they cannot have direct access to the internet. If they do, that's stupid.
What I'm told that they're allowed to have is be able to send and receive emails, download songs, which they got to pay for. Each song is like, astronomical. Some games, not very many games, just certain, simple games, and in the future, phone. And of course, they got a place to store their photos.
Yeah. Here's one thing that I originally thought would be somewhat of a good idea, but now that I think about it, the more you think about some ideas on those tablets that they could have, the more you think about how it could be broken or how it could be exploited. Like I would kind of like the last time a while ago I made a joke about a kind of person Facebook. I'll crop it out. That was more of a joke than anything because I know how even back then I knew how exploitable that would have been.
Right.
They could have, even if they could have like monitored all the feeds, all the messages going through. It's still not going to be perfect. Human error is a lot of things. They're going to read this, and of course that doesn't even count for coded messages.
Right.
So yeah.
So one of the reasons that we're doing this thing when you're talking about tech is you got a YouTube channel talking about tech stuff, right?
Not often, actually. I mean, I'm getting more into that now, but not often. One thing. How do I say this? One idea that I kind of thought about, but now that I think about it, is also exploitable. And I totally forgot what I was saying, so I'm going to say something completely different than what I said. Is again, having direct access to the internet. Okay, cool, right? If they had like a Wi-Fi connection that it was tethered to, and now that I'm saying this, I remember what I was going to say before, but I'm going to finish this idea. But there's no apps that actually connected to the internet, besides like the JPay app to send and receive emails. That's again very, very exploitable.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is somehow make a link inside of that email. You click the link and it opens up like a web browser or something.
Well, you know, the prisons have to have Wi-Fi. For one thing, there's computers in there.
Yeah.
And for another thing, people are having phones slipped into them or getting on YouTube and stuff. So they gotta have a connection.
Yeah. So yeah, but I'm doubtful that those tablets are connected to that Wi-Fi network.
Oh, I doubt it too. I was talking about phones that were smoking in.
Yeah, I know. I doubt that, right? But if they were, let's say they did have a web browser. Let's say that's something they managed to do. The web browser had restricted access to the internet. So you could go into Google and search certain things. And you could go onto certain websites and stuff. Maybe they've even built their own internet, who knows. Let's say they did that. Again, how exploitable is that? Very.
Right.
Now, an app store. Like a kind of app store where they download approved apps. It's a prison app store. It's custom made by the prison.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a good idea, right?
Right, but you think that would be difficult to set up?
Yes.
I don't think the D.O.C. is going to go through that much trouble.
Yeah, exactly. But let's say they did. It's also very exploitable. Because the only way outside of the Google Play Store on Android to install apps is via APK files.
I think we kind of talked about this before. We was talking about, say I have a friend that's in a different prison than I am, being able to message him, through the tablet.
Yes.
And we know that the D.O.C. is not allowed that, but
yes.
That would be a good way for. They allow letters to be sent from prison to prison, as long as you're not in the hole.
And of course they approve those letters. So you think that they could do because they're trying to go paperless. Mm-hmm. They could do letters on the tablets. These tablets have a lot of potential, but they don't use it because every feature they add, every app they add to this is another way to break it.
Right. Well,
to break the security.
The D.O.C. is always way behind on things too, because it took them forever to allow CD players in the prison.
I know. I watched a video. they had cassettes for the longest time, and they couldn't have screws in them. Because then you could take it apart, and you could put shit in there.
Well, when I first got to prison, the cassettes did have screws in them, and then they did away. You can only get them without the screws. But the reason they did not want us to have CD players is
It's because you could break the discs and use the shards of the broken disc as a weapon. Anything is a better weapon than the shards of a CD.
That's right.
Especially because those CDs are probably expensive.
Well, our argument was we can make something out of anything. So, it doesn't matter if you have the CD player or not.
You could take the knob off of your TV, the channel knob off your TV, and that's a good weapon right there.
Besides, somebody's not going to spend a lot of money ordering a CD of their favorite musician or whatever, only to break it and use it as a weapon.
Exactly.
Right.
If they're gonna buy it, they're gonna buy it to play it.
Right.
So good. And one thing about the App Store, because again, that's too much trouble to go through that. But if they did, here's the problem with that. Like I said, the only way to install apps outside of the Google Play Store is to install APKs. You cannot install APKs without enabling unknown sources in Android settings.
Right.
Now, they could have that option enabled by default. Here's the problem with that. Now you can install pretty much any app.
Right.
But you see, let's say you could only get FUD app files, APK, Android package, kernel, whatever, files from the store because they don't have access to the rest of the internet.
Right.
Let's say because they have to have some connection to the internet for something, like the JPay app. Let's say they do. Alright, cool, right? Again, like I said, all it takes is maybe like a link or some kind of weird message thing that confuses the app or something, and it allows you to open a web browser, which it shouldn't do. Now you have access to the internet, the full internet, because the D.O.C. ain't about to put a firewall on that shit just for the small case that somebody breaks into the web browser of the Android and gets to Google.
I bet if it happened, though, they would pick one up.
Exactly. But before that, they're not going to do that.
Right.
Oh my goodness, we've been recording for 23 minutes.
Right, yeah, I'm about ready to...
We've mainly been talking about tablet modern tech.
Yeah, tablets, yeah.
And funny thing is, again, weapons in prison. Anything can be turned into a weapon. And they're scared of fucking CDs.
Yeah.
CDs! See this? How is this a weapon? You could break this, I'm not going to, but you could break this. And it turns into little shards. Here's a fucking pencil. This is a better weapon. You agree?
Well, there's a lot better things, than either one of those, but
You could...
anything, really. Alright, bud, you about ready to close this?
You could take the plug off of one of your things and stab it into somebody.
Right.
There are many, many better weapons. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Fun.
Bye.
Bye.